Welcome to another episode of It Had to Be Said podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about friendship and we're going to be asking the question, are you a good friend and do you deserve to have good friends? All right. A lot of people, when they think about friendship, uh, well, let me start off by saying this. I think in today's society, people too easily um, assign the title of friend. I used to tell my kids this all the time when they were in middle school and high school. You don't have friends, you have classmates, you have associates. Until someone's able to come to this house, sit down with us, and I meet their parents, and that's your friend, they're your classmate, they're your associate. And I apply that to myself as well. If you've never come to my house, you're not a friend. You're someone I know, you're an associate. If you are someone that I cannot sit down with and have a conversation with and say, hey, I see you doing something that can affect you or affect your future or your loved ones. And if I cannot have that conversation with you without you, blowing a gasket, wanting to fight and argue and getting very defensive, then we're not friends. And I think that's something that's very important to a lot of people. I think that's something that's very important to me. And I think a lot of people don't understand, like, the term friend or friendship is not something that you can just throw about and just assign to anyone. All right. Like, I know a few people, they'll say, oh, this is my friend. And then I'll say, okay, well, I see your friend doing something that's, you know, not really, you know, good for their future, for their well-being or for their finances. Yeah, aren't you going to say anything to them? And the person will be like, no, 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 no. I don't get involved in that stuff. That's too personal, or I feel like that's just crossing the line. And I'm like, you guys are not strangers. That's your friend. If that's your friend and then it shouldn't be, oh, that's too personal or that's crossing the line. That's you looking out for your friend to make sure that they're okay. Because if you don't say it, then who's supposed to say it? Maybe they don't know better. Maybe nobody's ever said it to them. So maybe you need to be able to open your mouth and say it to them. So I think when I hear stuff like that from people, I say, that is not your friend. That's an associate. That's somebody you know. Because if that was really a friend of yours, then you would feel the need to say, hey, friend, you're messing up. Hey, friend, this is not a good idea. But the fact that you could, assign the title of friendship to someone, and when you see them messing up, you say, no, 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 that's their business. I don't get involved, whatever the case may be. You're not a good friend, although you guys should not even consider yourselves friends. Now, here's the other side of the subject that we want to be talking about. Do you deserve to have good friends? You know, a lot of us think that we're good people. A lot of us think that we're awesome and we're open minded because, most of us don't want to think negative of ourselves when it comes to certain things like that. But, think about this. How many times, okay, well, how many times has a friend, a family member, or somebody close to you said, hey, I don't think that this is the right way to go with something, or I don't think that this is healthy, and they explain it to you, and you just get mad at them or you shut down on them, right? Um, if you do stuff like that, then no, you don't deserve to have good friends. Another way to tell if you are one of those people who are very stubborn, combative, and defensive is how many people do you have around you that are successful? I'm not talking about like money successful. I'm just talking about happy in life. They're financially okay, relationship wise, they're okay. They don't have stress in their lives. And yet, you know, these people don't necessarily deal with you. They don't necessarily come around as much. They used to come around, but they don't come around as much. They don't talk to you as much. Um, that's also an early sign that, these people that I have peace in their lives, they don't try to transfer that peace over to you because maybe at some point they did. And after so many times of you, getting upset with them, fighting with them, arguing with them, they decided just to pull back and just leave you be, and I have people, not only former friends, but I also have family members. I can't even say former family members because you can't disown them, at least not legally. I also have family members and former friends that I used to be really close with, and I would go above and beyond to them to the point that I no longer even reach out to them. I don't talk to them. I don't call them. And when they do call me and tell me, hey, I have this issue, I have this problem, I just simply I hear them and I do it. So I say, okay, well, you have a nice day. I don't give any advice. I don't offer any help. I don't try to resolve the issues because I've had so many experiences with them as far as trying to help them resolve issues or trying to advise them. And then they get upset and they blow up on me. And then they put themselves right back into the same situation after, you've helped them out to a certain extent. So you really have to take a look at your life and sit there and say, am I really a good friend, or even do I deserve to have good friends? What happened to the people that are around me that actually loved me, cared for me? Why is it that all of a sudden everybody's gone silent on me? You know, a really good example of that is celebrities. You know, a lot of celebrities, I mean, these are people that have fame, they have money, they can get just about everything that they want. They have the materialistic things, but yet you see a lot of them turning to drugs. You see a lot of them committing suicide. And the thing about it is, they surround themselves with a bunch of yes, sir, man. People that are afraid to tell them when they're messing up, or people that, are not allowed to say it. They just want somebody who's around them, who's a fake friend, who's basically going to tell them everything that they're doing is great and that they're awesome. And nobody's going to call them out. And when you're surrounded by people like that, everything that you do, they're just like, oh yeah, that's fine, that's great. And before you know it, you're a drug addict, or before you know it, you've lost all your money, you file for bankruptcy, and your life become miserable because the people around you that actually care about you, you've pushed them away because they're telling you no, or they're telling you what you're doing is not right, and you don't want to hear that. So I think a lot of celebrities and a lot of very successful people, as far as financially, when you see them going through this stuff and they are on drugs or committing suicide or or they lose all their money, it's typically because they surround themselves with those type of people. And that's why I think it's very important. I know that this podcast talks about friendship, but friendship also includes family members. I think it's very important that you understand which family members are the ones, or which family members and friends are the ones that I want to see you succeed. Which ones are the ones that want to see you happy? Who actually takes the time to say to you, hey, I see you messing up. I see something that could affect you. And I don't think that this is the right way to go. And they're talking to you. And it's not necessarily that, they're calling you stupid. They're not calling you dumb. They're just saying to you, look, this may not work out very well for you. And just, Jim Rohn, which is one of the speakers that I absolutely love, he says this thing, right? When somebody says something to you, you don't, you don't just take it and follow what they say. You take it, you process it. What makes sense, you apply it. And whatever doesn't make sense, you throw it out. But at least take the time to process something when you see a loved one talking to you, or trying to explain something to you, or trying to, tell you a better way of doing something, rather than just trying to fight them all the time. I recently had a conversation with somebody who's very close and dear to me, and I said, I've learned something, and they were like, "What is that?" And I said, "I wish I knew this when my kids were younger, and I wish I knew how to explain this to my kids when they were younger, which is especially when they're in middle school and high school, because my kids are in middle school and high school, they think their parents don't know anything when you kind of give them advice." And I said, if I could explain this to my kids, which is, when I give you advice, it's not because I'm telling you I'm smarter than you. It's because I'm telling you I've messed up more times than you, and that's why I'm able to give you the advice. Like, I've messed up on all of these things. I've messed up so many times, and that's why I'm able to give you advice now, is because I've learned from the mistakes that I've made. It's not that I'm saying I'm perfect. It's not that I'm saying I'm better than you. It's just that I'm saying I've made more mistakes than you, so therefore I could advise you. And I think that's one of the best ways you can look at things when you are getting constructive criticism from a friend, a family member, or a loved one. Don't take it as, anybody attacking you, especially if you know that their intentions are good, especially if you know that it's coming from a very good place. And I know it's very difficult because not everybody has the same level of emotional intelligence. Not everybody has this, not everybody deals with the emotions or criticism in the exact same way. But if you realize that you're one of those people who cannot deal with criticism very well, but you want to become a better person and you want to do better, I think that's when you should start like really doing some self-reflecting and saying, okay, I have a group of people around me that love me. I have a group of people around me that care for me. And whatever these people talk to me, I need to learn not to get upset. I need to learn to process what they're saying, listen to them, process it. And whatever makes sense, I need to apply it excuse me, rather than just to get upset and, think that they're attacking me. Um, and I this topic we could talk about this for a very long time, but I like to keep my podcast under 10 minutes. And right now we're going well into the 10-minute mark. So I'm going to call it a day with that one. And we'll probably touch back on this on future podcasts. But I've just had some recent things happen in my own personal life. And I felt like, this is a topic that I think is very important. And I think that this is a topic that I see kind of ruining potentially, good long lasting relationships or even friendships and also families as well. Okay. Um, Guys, you have a good one. And thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.